Perusing information on X lately is a bit of a gamble, what with all the quackery and other questionable content seen there in the Elon Musk era. You still see videos pertaining to DoorDash and Uber Eats though, and it's usually controversial content, like deliverers rebelling against no tips is just one example. Recently I saw a related video that stood out from the others. It was about a woman who sets up elaborate safety procedures at her door when having food delivered from Ubers and Dashers. Now I can't say for sure if any of that was really true. It may have been done as a setup to gain clicks, but it seemed overly elaborate to be a fake. With increasing mentally ill people out there today, it's more than possible many people create their own security procedures at their front doors when having food or drink delivered. I mean, we've already seen evidence people with short fuses are out there delivering, probably because they have no other means of income. This doesn't demean being a dasher. All of the ones I encountered when delivering were friendly and intelligent individuals. The ones who might pose a threat are perhaps more likely to avoid conversations with their fellow deliverers anyway. And I wouldn't blame anyone for setting up basic or complex security at their door when having something delivered. What's really going on out there, and would you put up with someone's detailed security measures to deliver food to their door? Also, let's expand with whether you do the same with an Uber or Dasher delivering to your own abode. So, based on the video we just talked about from X, it's mostly women who are taking these extra security steps, just out of precaution. And honestly, you really can't blame them these days with the way things are, never really knowing who might be lurking around your house. Of course, men are doing some of these security things too, here and there. For the record, I never actually had a customer who asked me to go through some sort of security process when I was delivering their stuff. But then again, whenever I saw that "leave the order at my door" note on the app, it was pretty clear they didn't want to answer in person. That's probably the simplest way to make delivery safer for everyone. I gotta say, I was always a little worried that someone might come along and steal a food bag sitting right by a customer's door, especially when it was just out there for anyone walking or driving by to see. I'd often see random people walk past while I was dropping the bag at someone's doorstep, but in a lot of cases the customer would open their door just seconds later to grab their food. Sometimes they'd mumble a quick "thank you," or just wait until I was out of sight. Every once in a while I'd get specific instructions to leave the order at the back door, a shed, or maybe some other spot that was a bit more hidden. Usually that was because they'd had food stolen from the front before, or maybe the front just wasn't easy to get to. Even though I never had someone give me security directions face to face, it really seems like this is becoming more common now. So, what do you do if you run into a customer who wants you to follow a whole multi-step process just to make sure things are safe? Well, that could definitely slow you down, and let's be honest, time is always important when you're trying to deliver quickly. Still, the customer is always right, or at least that's how the saying goes. So you should probably just go along with it. Should you talk to Uber and DoorDash about what the customer did? If you happen to encounter an overly elaborate door security procedure that, just wastes way too much time, you should definitely call Uber or DoorDash agents to tell them what happened. The customer may get a talking to on taking too much of your time and delivering safely. That person may have to come up with a simpler solution for you to deliver without it feeling like, a prolonged, multi-step authentication process. In the X video I referenced above, it showed the woman in question implementing several extended security procedures to ensure her own safety. One of those was spreading salt on her walkway to capture the delivery person's footprints. She also forces the delivery person to put on a handcuff outside her door before handing off the food to ensure the deliverer doesn't invade her home. And it didn't stop there. She also has the delivery man show his ID card, including providing his fingerprints for a complete background check. Then she sends out a remote-controlled drone to capture the guy's car license plate. This ensures it's a real delivery person and not an illegal immigrant or other fake. The drone also follows the car to make sure it moves out of the area and doesn't linger. See my blog piece about lingering. Unfortunately, the one who posted the video called the woman a liberal, giving an unexpected political bias to who might do this. The woman in the video made a good point nevertheless about how she can't trust anyone anymore. If this is true, would you feel comfortable setting up a similar security protocol at your home? Some people just want their food handed to them due to being in a hurry. You may be one of those people, hence having to deal with an Uber or Dasher handing the food off to you. Would you trust a deliverer handing food to you at your door, including if you were home by yourself? Well, I'll tell you this. I'd trust myself since I was always a reliable and conscientious deliverer for Uber and DoorDash. But I'm consciously aware that others aren't like me, and are basically forced into delivering food to survive. So, there's been concern about illegal US citizens delivering for a while, even though Uber and DoorDash now have, better methods to make sure real residents with licenses are working for them. And traffic offenses are also scoped out through a background check, which is done once per year. Not that this would completely eliminate any potentially psychotic people out there, but it's something. From your perspective, just imagine a deliverer bringing your food, but you start to feel uneasy, because the delivery person looks a bit creepy when you spot them on your Ring camera. You need your food fast, and, honestly, you don't want it just dropped off at the door. So what are you going to do since you're the only one home? Outside of, building a security moat loaded with piranhas, your best bet is to speak through your Ring camera when the person rings the doorbell. You can just tell them to place it at the door, since you're probably just a few feet away inside anyway. This makes for a good compromise without forcing the deliverer to go through ridiculously long security measures. Oh, and honestly, it helps to have dogs who bark at your door as proof you're completely secure. Dogs intimidated me more than once at many front doors. One of the most satisfying things about doing DoorDash and Uber is that, after a while, you're going to have a lot of repeat customers. If you stick with it for at least a year, you'll start delivering to a group of regulars you'll get to know. When I had to deliver to these people, we'd chat and text like longtime friends, honestly. It's here where you'll know right where to go and what to expect every time. Best of all, the customer has complete trust in you based on your past track record. That means either a routine tip amount or sometimes even more during each visit. So, those of you who live in, slightly smaller towns or cities will probably have repeat deliverers. Try to get to know them by chatting in the provided text boxes. Just, make sure you're not flirting. You'll be able to have worry-free deliveries this way, based on a long-standing track record. Just don't, set up quicksand in your yard for the still mysterious guys delivering from Amazon. In Chapter 37, I'll look at the issue of high commission fees from DoorDash and Uber. If you ever wonder why these delivery services aren't being used in your favorite local restaurants or fast food places, it's usually because of, thin margins. This could affect you and DoorDash, with some restaurants starting their own delivery services.